to talk a little bit about sort of the progression of technology, maybe for you guys specifically throughout your careers, or maybe at least what you're aware of before you came into it, also of how things have changed. I know you guys have all worked in music, but I know, like Brian specifically, you've done some sound design stuff for video games, so maybe you could focus a little bit on that, because we'll get a little bit more of the other perspective on the music from these guys. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about maybe how it's changed since you started, or at least maybe what you're aware of changes since before you started, and then also talk a little bit about where it's starting to go.
Totally. Yeah, I've done a few sound design projects. I've done a Disney video game. I've worked on electronic art stuff, doing sound design and implementation. And as far as how the technology is progressing, I can't say too much because I haven't been doing it too long. But I do know that like a lot of the GUI interfaces for the game engines nowadays they're really powerful, and they're more focused on being operated by sound designers as opposed to being operated by programmers, which is good because I definitely am not a very good programmer, and it allows you to kind of take the audio of the game to the next level, because the programmers, they may be really good at getting the sounds tweaked out like with the code, but they may not have the ear for it, or they may not know what they're doing. So nowadays most video games are done with third-party engines that the sound designer can create the sounds and hook them up and even apply all sorts of effects, and then they just hook that, the programmers take that and hook it into the game. So that gives the sound designer control over parameters such as proximity and volume and distance. Say if I'm approaching an object in a video game, I can set the level of when I start hearing it, when I walk up to it, and the panning of it, and effects and stuff like that. As far as just for an example, if I'm making like an engine sound or something, there's some really powerful looping tools, so I can say maybe have 3 different wave files for an engine sound and have them crossfade into each other and loop and fade out depending on how hard the person hits the trigger. And I think that now, since the power is put into the sound designer as opposed to being the programmer, you can get better game audio. Nowadays, the visuals of games are like absolutely nuts. Like it's almost to the point where you're watching a movie, and if you have that kind of reality, you have to have a sound that kind of makes it authentic as well. So you can't be having like Super Mario sounds in like Modern Warfare, like it wouldn't work. So you have to really know how to tweak things out and get them realistic. And I think that the technology is there now, and it's good that it's kind of in the sound designer's hands. So.